Hello, welcome to Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben. As always, I'm hanging out with Mike.
Hello.
Claire.
Hey.
And P.
Hello.
This week we're going to talk about Project Azorian, Cold War piracy.
Dum dum dum.
We'll get into that shortly. I love a bit of Cold War madness. Terrifying time to be alive. You know, always a threat of nuclear holocaust. But crazy shit went on.
Yeah, but for the average Joe, don't you think it was a bit boring because all this crazy shit was going on somewhere else?
And unusually top secret too.
Yeah.
But I think that's the way people wanted it. It was a Cold War, wasn't it? It wasn't a hot war.
Oh yeah, it couldn't be allowed to spark.
The proxies, obviously, Vietnam and that. And
I always thought it was called a Cold War just because it was Russia and it's cold.
You know what? When I was a kid, I used to think that too.
Because of that, like as a kid, you hear about the Cold War and it was Russia and that. So I just assumed it was like because Russia's cold, snowy. So every time, even now as an adult, 41 years old, I hear Cold War and I just see snowy Russia. It's just it's just that weird link. But yeah,
I used to think that too. I was like, oh, must be because Russia's cold. Well, thanks to new and returning listeners, and then we'll get into the meat and bones of it. Edinburgh in the UK, Chateau Thierry in France,
bonjour.
Flushing in New York, so knew before, Phoenix, Arizona, Fernley, Nevada, Tel Aviv in Israel, Vaxjo in Sweden, Ismail in the Ukraine, keep fighting brother, Sydney, Australia, Ferndale, UK, Eblag in Poland, Port Gavin, Missouri, Los Angeles, California, Bengaluru in India, Madrid in Spain, Ashburn, Virginia, Guadalajara, Flushing again, and then Boardman, Oregon.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Tell several friends.
Make them tap that subscribe button.
Yeah, you can follow us on Facebook at Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. Thank you to all our new subscribers, hopefully your listeners too. We are Apocalypse Bull on YouTube and SoundCloud and most other podcasting platforms as Cutting to the Bull in the PTA. Right, Project Azorian. Imagine standing atop the Empire State Building with an 8-foot wide grappling hook on a 1-inch diameter steel rope. Okay?
who the fuck are you, the milk tray man?
Yes. I moonlight as him sometimes, usually around Christmas.
That's an old reference, isn't it?
Yeah, you fucking Uncle Mike, calm down.
I have been seeing him eating Werther's originals recently.
What, a milk tray man?
That's because it tracks the... No, I'm going to say it.
You could have said Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible and that would have...
Oh, yeah.
You know...
The milk tray man.
What did you do? You jumped to the milk tray man when Tom Cruise hanging above the objective in Mission Impossible.
That's been an advert on British Cinema for 20 years.
Exactly, I mean, the first Mission Impossible film is fucking old now, but that's not the point. It's an iconic movie scene.
Well, I went with the milk tray man. Fuck you all.
Okay.
Probably a 30-year-old advert, to be fair.
Oh, shit.
Now, your task with this 8-foot wide grappling hook on a 1-inch diameter steel rope is to lower the hook to the street below, snag a compact car full of gold, and lift the car back to the top of the building. On top of that, the job has to be done without anyone noticing, and that essentially describes what the CIA did in Project Azorian.
No problem.
A highly secret 6-year effort to retrieve a sunken Soviet submarine from the Pacific Ocean floor during the Cold War.
All they needed was someone like me that's really good at those grabber machines. That's all you needed.
Alright, well, it is essentially that. It's playing a grabber machine.
A mile or so underwater.
Yeah. The story starts in 1968 when K-129, a Soviet Golf II class submarine carrying 3 SSN-4 nuclear-armed ballistic missiles, sailed to the naval base at Petropavlovsk on Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula to take up its peacetime patrol station in the Pacific Ocean northeast of Hawaii, pretty much smack in the middle of the Pacific. Soon after leaving port, the submarine and its entire crew were lost.
Fuck.
Because that's Russian technology for you in the 1960s. It's been,
Not improved that much.
it's not improved that much, probably. 1968, these submarines were called fucking Widowmakers, for Christ's sake.
Is that a film?
Yeah, it's not because
It was a film, yeah.
and it's not because they used to blow up other ships. It's because themselves they would normally die.
Yeah, in radiation poisoning,
Oh,
just
Jesus.
in mechanical failures, reactor failures.
What's the film?
K12. I think it has actually K129 Widowmaker, but it's not. It's K
Yeah.
something Widowmaker. It's Harrison Ford in it.
I've never seen it. I've heard of it.
Yeah, there's been a couple of nasty films involving subs, isn't there?
Hunt for Red October. That's a good film.
What's that one with Denzel Washington?
That's good as well.
Anyway, so the Soviets go out and look for it. They abandon their extensive search efforts. The US located a submarine about 1,800 miles northwest of Hawaii on the ocean floor, 16,500 feet below the surface of the ocean. Fair way down.
Talking a few miles then.
Because the Americans can realise what this is because they've got the Pacific Ocean dotted with underwater microphones. They basically heard a faint pop and realised at some point that was this Soviet sub, and had to triangulate the sound off 3 microphones and give them a better location the Soviets had.
So how did they lose it in the first place? Just mechanical failure, you think, or?
Pretty much, yeah. Reactor failure, probably. Recognising the immense value of the intelligence on Soviet strategic capabilities that would be gained if the submarine were recovered, the CIA agreed to lead a recovery effort with support from the Department of Defence. So like, we're going to steal it. This is a heist movie. We're doing a heist movie.
The only thing that gets me about this, right, is the logic in it. Doesn't all add up. So my thoughts on that is, let's see what this super duper advanced stuff the Soviets have got that's just sunk to the bottom of the ocean because it's shit.
What you're also looking for is code books. You want their code books, don't you?
Yeah, I suppose. But
And you can check out if you get their nuclear missiles, you can look at A, if they're better than yours. You can B, learn to see how shit they are.
Learn their weaknesses.
Test fire them, see if you can bring them down with something. Can they be brought down?
I understand completely. I was kind of making.
Explain to the listener.
I was making a bit of a joke, in all fairness. Just the fact that, but it's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
There is a bit of a irony in that. It's like, let's go and check. We don't want you to see our awesome stuff. What? Your awesome stuff that's just fucking broke. Yeah.
But then again, you could say that about the UFOs.
Well,
Retrieving
yeah.
They've
you're
crashed. Of course, you want to
Not
know.
that fucking good. Look at it, it fucking fell out of the sky. Shit, it is.
Made out of fucking
Scrap
paper and
yard.
bamboo.
Why are all these people from Yorkshire?
Fucking Dave down the road could do a better job in his garage.
Oh, get off! Go whip it on, climb on top of it. Get off!
Get off, it's shit that is. Look at it, it's gonna fall apart.
Oh, dog's pissing up it.
It's right though, isn't it?
Yeah, but still, I like it's as I was saying for the listener more than anything, but like you want to have a look at what they've got. Is your stuff better? Because you don't know, do you?
No.
As the CIA engineers faced a daunting task. Lift the huge 1,750 ton, 132 foot long portion of the wrecked submarine from an ocean abyss more than 3 miles below in total secrecy. Because you can't let the Russians know what you're doing. No one can know what you're doing because this is piracy. You're breaking international law here. There's quite a few international laws, I'd imagine. Because it's also, at this point, a grave, isn't it?
It's not piracy,
But
it's
isn't
find
it-
us fucking keep it.
But isn't it in international waters, therefore that basically does kind
find
of come
us
into
keep
play?
us, isn't it?
It does, but it's still someone else's property.
That they can still stake claim to, I suppose.
It's still technically Russian property, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Russian military property. It's
Yeah.
not like it was some geezer off their own their own back that's no longer got anyone left to leave it to or anything like that, I suppose, like old pirate treasure or something.
Yeah. You know, this wreck is property. It's got missiles on, which are property of the Soviet government.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the CIA lied, and they said it was a explorer vessel for deep sea mining. That was
Yeah.
their excuse.
That is their excuse. They build this capture vehicle. Now, a boat is built around that. We're looking at a picture, guys. It is like a big platform with big grabber hooks on it.
Yeah.
It's built into a ship.
So that's basically designed to hold it when it's been lifted up.
Yeah. You're going to check this out on the online, listener. In 1970, after careful study, a team of CIA engineers and contractors determined the only technically feasible approach was to use a large mechanical claw to grasp the hull and a heavy-duty hydraulic system mounted on the surface ship to lift it. The ship would be called the Hughes Glomar Explorer, ostensibly a commercial deep-sea mining vessel and built and owned by billionaire Howard Hughes, who provided the plausible cover story that his ship was conducting marine research at extreme ocean depths and mining manganese nodules lying on the sea bottom. The ship would have to have the requisite stability and power to perform the task at hand. So the CIA come to Howard Hughes and say, look, who apparently had worked with them before on a couple of things. You know Howard Hughes, eccentric American billionaire?
It rings a bell.
The Aviator, the movie.
You said the film. It's a good film, great film.
Yeah. He's this eccentric American billionaire. He's tried to build the world's biggest plane.
Your name from The Simpsons. Burns sort of plays him, doesn't he? A version of him.
Yes, he's climbed up the Spruce Goose.
Yeah.
Get it? I've built the world's largest airplane, Smithers. I call it the Spruce Goose. It'll fly from New York to Tokyo in 3 hours. And he's like, oh, what do we do, sir? He goes, all aboard the Spruce Goose. He's like, but that's a model, sir. And he clicks the revolver and says, get in. Do you remember that bit?
He's growing all his nails long and his hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bottles of pee.
Ringing a bell.
That bit's ringing a bell. Can't quite remember the plane bit as such, but yeah.
Well, either way, they go to Howard Hughes, this American billionaire, and say, look, we need to do this. We know you've worked with us before. We want a favour. We want to put your name on this. So it's a Hughes Glomar Explorer, and you come out and say, yeah, I'm going to start mining the ocean floor for manganese modules and other minerals. No one's thought of it before. I'll be the first to do it. I don't know what the CIA offered him as a favour, though. Would you? The CIA owing you a favour must be fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's the best probably thing in the world, isn't it?
Probably them saying, don't worry, we won't uncover all the child abuse that you did in amongst.
That's a dark turn to take, but just
These billionaires in America, you know.
this is the 1960s, Pete. It was a more wholesome time.
Was it?
No.
It's only a speculation.
Could
But
be.
still, the CIA owing you a favour
Yeah.
is the best thing in the world,
It's got to be
surely.
a good favour, innit?
It has. So, constructed over the next 4 years, it took them 4 years to build this thing. The ship includes a derrick similar to an oil drilling rig, a pipe transfer crane, 2 tall docking legs, a huge claw-like capture vehicle, and a centre docking well called the moon pool. So the bottom of the ship just opens up.
James Bond
style. Exactly, James Bond villain style. Lift the sub up, job's a good one.
Nobody knows where it is.
Yeah, it's like Moonraker.
Moonraker, that's the one.
Classic.
Is good, that one actually, yeah.
One of the best.
That's my favourite.
That's
one.
Roger Moore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem, is that Moonraker's really good, Roger Moore's really good. Isn't the Man with the Golden Gun Roger Moore as well?
Maybe.
It was Sean Connery.
It's
It
one of
might
the
be Sean
two.
Connery.
It's one of the two. I'm trying to look at that
It's Roger Moore.
picture. I think it is Roger
I
Moore.
think it's Roger Moore, and
He's holding the gun, and he.
I hate Roger Moore as Bond.
Oh, I can. He was the
He
best.
was too fat. He was too fat and old.
Roger Moore and fucking and
Roger
old
Moore,
Sean
he's too
Connery.
slim.
He was well fat at the end. He had a girdle, for fuck's sake.
Roger Moore,
It's just my
Sean
era.
Connery.
It's just my era.
Connor is the
Connor
best.
is before my era.
I'm gonna
Even though you
say
saw the old films.
I'm gonna say it, but GoldenEye.
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce
No,
Brosnan
no, for me.
made a really good fucking Bond.
Let down
Made some
by his
awful ones as
films.
There were some bad
Brosnan was let down by his
Tomorrow
script.
Never Dies.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That wasn't good. GoldenEye was
GoldenEye was fantastic.
GoldenEye was brilliant.
But I know we're going off on a tangent, but he had some terrible films. It was more like Bond was just always spent all night thinking about puns to say when he killed people.
He did make it. I thought he was a good Bond though.
I don't think he can knock Daniel Craig. I like the Return to the Ruthless Assassin Bond.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Timothy Dalton.
He was
No,
alright.
he did a good job.
Yeah.
Suave as fuck. Timothy Dalton
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
Well,
Timothy Dalton was
suave.
fine.
And that's all he had for it though. He had the suave Bond, didn't he?
Only English Bond, didn't he?
Is Welsh.
Oh, Welsh, Welsh Bond.
He was the Welsh one.
Daniel Craig. He's English.
Yeah, Craig's English, and he
So
goes.
it's more.
Sean Connery.
Moore's English.
Scottish, but Roger
Yeah,
Moore was
oh yeah,
English.
yeah. It just pisses me off that Moore, in my opinion, is the weakest.
Well,
Yeah,
Lazenby's the weakest, isn't he?
Well, Lazenby's the weakest, second weakest, and he's in two of my favourite Bond films. It pisses me off.
Pierce Brosnan a Yank, is he?
No, he's Irish.
Irish. Oh, he's Irish.
I don't think I've ever read an American Bond.
No.
Yeah.
Best Bond was Bob Olness.
Bob Otis is Bond, of course. Yeah.
I like it when
Did the
Bob
radio
Hoskins,
version.
Bob Hoskins did Bond. Can you imagine that? Bob Hoskins as Bond. That would be nice.
I suppose it's relevant. It's spies.
The name's Bond, James Bond. All right.
You ever seen Kingsman? That's quite decent. They're technically Bonds.
I've not seen it, but I do. It's one of those ones that's always passed me by.
Back to
Finding-
submarines.
He's the one that played Boone. He would have made a good Bond.
I have no idea. He's a pisshead.
Just joking. Big gut on him.
Anyway, back to the submarines. To preserve the mission secrecy, the capture vehicle was built under roof and loaded into the ship from a barge submerged underneath. That's pretty metal.
Yep.
With these special capabilities, the ship can conduct the entire recovery underwater, away from the view of other ships, aircraft, or spy satellites.
This is the plan, isn't it?
This is the plan.
This
but
is
this
the
is
plan.
so but to get that, they've got to lift it up from under the sea, because everyone will be like, "What the fuck's that?"
Who? Who's everyone? Sat bang in the middle of the fucking Pacific. There's no.
No, this
fucking
one they're
around.
building it at this point.
Oh, okay.
It's in
Yeah.
the docks. There's always spies, satellites, for example. You know.
Again, yeah, we're talking late 60s. Not that
But
amazing.
early
Spy
70s at
balloons.
this point. It's sunk in 68. It takes them 6 years to build this ship.
How long it took him?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Big ship though, I guess.
Well, it's gotta be, hasn't it?
to
Yeah.
be a big fucker, isn't it?
It's definitely not a rescue mission then, is it? Fuck.
Oh,
Fuck me, one's still alive!
but there's no one else. No other bodies on board the ship, and he's really fat.
163 crewmen.
I don't know what happened.
They all went crazy.
Very yellow eyes you have, sir.
So the heavy lift operation was complex and fraught with risk. While maintaining its position in the ocean currents, the ship had to lower the capture vehicle by adding 60-foot sections of supporting steel pipe one at a time. So at every 60 feet, another pipe onto the thing, it goes down. Another 60 feet, another pipe onto it, interlocking.
Wow.
Like you drain an oil well.
Yeah.
When it reached the submarine section, the capture vehicle then had to be positioned to straddle the sunken submarine section, and its powerful jaws had to grab the hull. Then the ship had to raise the capture vehicle with the section in its clutches by reversing the lift process and removing supporting pipe sections one at a time until the submarine was securely stowed in the ship's docking well.
And it's just one of them big giant grabby things.
So
Yeah, but
that is it, yeah.
But it's pipe,
Yeah.
Reinforcement.
I don't
reinforcement
know
pipe.
if it grabbed it or not.
I'm
I
presuming
guess
the weight,
buzzer
isn't
would,
it?
The buzzer would go off like ding ding ding,
Yeah.
you win!
You'd feel the weight of it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, the whole ship just like
Well, the ship.
sinks a little bit.
they've got the exact location and loads of photos. 20,000 photos. They sent a submarine called the USS Halibut, which wasn't a nuclear submarine. It was just like, had been converted, well, not a nuclear missile carrying submarine, had been converted to like an underwater spy submarine, and it sent down a little drone that took like 20,000 pictures of the wreck, so they knew exactly what it looked like. And then I presume you got sonar guiding you down. You probably got US submarines somewhere about. The Soviet ships are watching them do this, by the way. They occasionally turn up and have a look at them and say, what the fuck they doing?
Yeah, but
Just mining for manganese.
Well, that's it, because it's... Sorry, Claire, go on.
you're not going to just lower it right on top of it, are you? There's going to be movement in all that, in that...
Why?
You do get underwater currents, don't you? But
Yeah, but the weight.
Yeah.
The weight of these things, the reinforcement bars,
It's going to weigh a ton in it.
are
Yeah.
fucking lots of tons. Lots and lots of tons. It's going to be a good couple 100 ton of
Well,
gravel.
you think
Got to
the
be
submarine weighs
1,750
tons
submerged.
So how heavy? It's going to lift
So with
twice
the
that.
Well, no, with the buoyancy within the water, it's going to be easier for it because it will. Things do become lighter in water, don't they?
Yeah.
So if it's 1,750 tons submerged, then you could probably halve the weight needed to lift, kind of thing. But then it still needs to support it as it pulls it out of the water.
Yeah.
But you're talking hundreds of tons of metal to be able to hold that kind of weight.
That's it. Plus, you're a few miles down. You got pressure as well. You got to factor that in.
Pressures, but that's not going to affect solid metal.
That's what...
No, but you'd be pulling against it, wouldn't
Yeah.
This grabbing machine malarkey, you're going to have a little sway in the
Oh, God,
metal going down there. What's
there's
the
lots of
chances?
obstacles.
What's the chances of you just just putting it straight down on top and just, grabbing it?
you? Well, that's what they did.
Well, fair
Great
play.
feat of
Fair
engineering,
play.
Is
yeah.
this still the plan, or has it gone to actual now?
We're going to move into the plan now.
Okay. Is that the ship, is it?
That's the ship. The Hughes Glomar Explorer.
Don't look very big.
No, well, it's quite deep. It's got quite a deep, what do they call it?
Bow.
Bow. Sailing from Long Beach, California, the Glomar Explorer arrived over the recovery site on 4th of July 1974. 4th of July, bitches. It conducted salvage operations for more than 2 months under total secrecy, despite much of the time being monitored by a nearby Soviet ship. Curious about its mission, the crew encountered many problems, some serious, but quickly overcame them, and the lift proceeded according to plan. However, when the submarine section was about halfway up, it broke apart, and a portion plunged back to the ocean bottom.
Okay.
Crestfallen, the Glomar crew successfully hauled up the portion that remained in the capture vehicle. So they got the front section of it up, the front third. Among the contents of the recovered section were the bodies of 6 Soviet submariners, sadly. They were given a formal military burial at sea, and in a gesture of goodwill, Director of Central Intelligence Robert Gates presented a film of the burial ceremony to Russian President Boris Yeltsin in 1992. So they gave the bodies they found, they gave them a military funeral, filmed it, and when the Soviet Union's fallen, and that submarine technically doesn't really belong to anybody, they said, look, we did this, there you go, we gave you lads a good send-off.
Quite sad for the submariners. I mean, it's very sad. It's quite tragic for them. How many of them had families back home and things like
of
that?
course.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. It's
Oh, they never found out what happened to them either, but they weren't even told, just,
Missing in action.
yeah.
yeah.
They wouldn't announce that they've lost a sub. Well, they can't announce they've lost a sub, remember, because Soviet technology is the best
Is that the ship?
in Soviet Russia.
Is that the ship out of the water in the ship's dock?
Yeah.
Wow. That is quite a bow.
It is, isn't it?
It's very, very, very wide at the bottom because obviously it's going to hold this submarine. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty immense, that is.
But almost immediately after the disappointing recovery effort, planning began for a second mission to recover the lost portion. A bizarre and totally unforeseen occurrence, however, had already started a chain of events that was ultimately to expose the Glomar Explorer's true purpose and make another mission impossible.
Not another one.
They wanted to go back and get the other one, basically.
I was joking. Mission Impossible.
Oh, Mission Impossible 2 now.
Well, yeah. 2, it's about 12 now, isn't it?
Oh, I think that's what they're up to. To be fair.
73?
I know Tom Cruise is still doing his own fucking stunts at like 57 or something like that. I think he might be older than that. He might be 60 now.
It's like Mission Impossible 73. Can we stop calling these Mission Impossible? Because I've done it like 72 times
That's
already.
clearly not impossible. Mission quite difficult, maybe,
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah, Mission Plausible. Well, in June 1974, just before the Glomar set sail, thieves had broken into one of Howard Hughes' offices in Los Angeles and stolen secret documents, one tying Howard Hughes to CIA and the Glomar Explorer. Desperate to recover this document, the CIA called in the FBI, which in turn enlisted the Los Angeles Police Department. The search drew attention, and by the autumn of 1974, the media began to pick up rumours of a sensational story. So, I love that. This is proper investigative journalism. They're breaking into the offices of Howard Hughes and stealing documents. I admire that.
That's illegal.
I know, but if you want to be a proper journalist...
I don't think the journalists were doing it. I just think they happened to come across it. These thieves and probably sold it to the journalists.
If it was journalists doing it, that's proper investigative journalism, that is. It's a spirit I want to see amongst our UFO investigative journalists.
Gary McKinnon.
Gary McKinnon, there you go. He has some spunk in him.
Sure he did.
Anyway, yeah, the press basically get hold of it, and the New York Times agrees not to run it. They're like, all right, we won't do it. We'll sit on it. And the Los Angeles Times says fuck you and releases it. Director of Central Intelligence William E. Colby personally appealed to those who had learned about Azorian not to disclose the project, and they did, like I say. And then the Los Angeles Times on the 7th of February 1975 published an account that made connections in the robbery, Hughes, the CIA and the recovery operation. After that, investigative reporter Jack Anderson broke the story on national television, as certain Navy experts had told him that sunken submarine contained no real secrets and that the project was a waste of taxpayers' money. Journalists flooded into the Long Beach area where the Glomar was preparing for its second mission. Got Gerald Ford in charge of the US at the minute, at this point. And the Ford administration neither confirmed nor denied any of the stories in circulation, but by late June, the Soviets had assigned a ship to monitor and guard the recovery site. With Glomar's cover blown, the White House cancelled further recovery operations. What I love is it's just like, it's called the Glomar Defence now. I can neither confirm nor deny that. You know, when someone asks,
yeah.
you know, what about this?
Typical politician
I
response.
can neither confirm nor deny. That's called the Glomar Defence. It's the first time it was used.
Interesting.
It's a bit of it's just a non-answer though, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yeah, it is. That's the point, though, isn't it? It's a deflector.
They don't want to answer.
Trump's a great deflector. To be fair, he's fantastic at it.
Sounds like it could be a good movie title, that.
The Deflector.
The Great Deflector.
Maybe. The Glomar's brief covert career was now over, and after some experimental ocean mining voyages sponsored by a consortium of industry leaders, it was mothballed for over a quarter of a century. I just want to point out, the cover story for this was so well publicised, with it being Howard Hughes behind it, that several countries started building their own ocean mining ships. Because they were so convinced, like, well, Howard Hughes is doing it.
Yeah.
We'll do it. He's right. There's a mint to be made on the bottom of that ocean if we can just get there and suck it up. So yeah, several countries started to build ships to copy him to do it.
I wonder if they found anything.
I think they all scrapped them ships and realised it was all a massive cover story.
Lots of old
No, they're still being used today.
Oh, the ship is itself. Renamed the GSF Explorer, the ship is still being used for deep sea drilling and exploration. Sadly, what an ignoble end to a cheaty ship, a spy ship. Yeah. Although Project Azorian failed to meet its full intelligence objectives, the CIA considered the operation one of the greatest intelligence coups of the Cold War. Project Azorian remains an engineering marvel, advancing the state of the art in deep ocean mining and heavy lift technology. But the point is, they got three nuclear torpedoes and a code book apparently.
Ah.
So it was worth it then.
It was
Well,
worth
was
it.
it?
Well, it was worth it to see what they had that was no better than anything that we've got, kind of thing. It's like, oh, they've only got this. Oh, alright.
Well, just think of the funding, 4 years to build it, and
Billions of dollars.
Yeah, was it really worth it? Probably not.
How many lives were lost making all that happen?
Well, there was 100 and odd Soviet submariners, but I don't think any lives were lost building the ship.
You never know.
Well, I don't know, to be fair. But
Especially in them days.
There's some money in the resources, isn't it? It's like
yeah, the 70s of you.
friggin' building your infrastructure.
70s, building a big ship like that, there was a few deaths, guarantee it. Health and safety was shit.
Yeah.
I think
There
we
was
can
always
all.
a few deaths with big builds like that.
I think we can all say though, it's cheeky as fuck though, isn't it?
Oh god, yeah.
I love it.
Brilliant.
I love all this. I mean, at this point, the Cold War, money's no fucking object to the CIA. It's like, yeah, build a ship.
But what gets me-
Design and build a ship in 6 years. We're going to nick a Soviet submarine.
Another thought though as well is that again, if like, the Americans or us, whoever thought that the Soviets had anything particular worth to take, surely they should have thought, well, they can't even find their own fucking submarine, so they're not that advanced. We found it within fucking.
Because they've got the undersea microphones, haven't
It
they?
doesn't matter, does it? They couldn't find it, but we did.
Yeah.
So
I suppose it's just to see.
You always want to know what your enemy's got,
Yeah,
though,
I
don't
mean, yeah, I'd say, just because you've got massive. Hey, can we relax for like if we've got a 20-year advance on these guys,
Yeah.
we can slow things down and take our time a bit more for 5 years, and we still got a 15-year lead on these guys, provided nothing happens.
you?
I just think it was all a waste of time. For
Well, it
for
probably
lots
was.
of reasons like
Yeah.
that, you'd have just thought, well, can't be that fucking good, because
But you can understand why they wanted it.
yeah.
Yeah, it also sends a bit of a message, doesn't it? Look what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it's a valid point, that Claire. Look what we can do. The Soviets never registered as a complaint. That's the weird thing.
It's sort of like passive aggressive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe it was just like, wow, we could have done that.
It's a bit of a pissing contest almost, isn't it?
Well, the old
Isn't
Cold
that what
War was a
war-
pissing contest,
All
wasn't it?
war is, isn't it?
Yeah, they all wanted to see if they could spell their name in the snow, didn't they?
Because it was in Russia. Because it's the Cold War.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they did it in Moscow at Christmas, like what Rocky did. I love Rocky 4.
It was certainly bold and audacious, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love the fact that some boffins had to get together and think, how the fuck are we going to do this? And they did it. The human spirit.
Prize grabber!
Yeah, it's a giant prize grabber. The thing is, let's say that there is a fluke. Let's say them submarines might be shit, but let's say their missiles are quite good. It's a win-win, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can nick their technology. It's a bonus. Well, that's Project Azorian. Have we got any fucked up facts?
Yeah, can do. We'll have the theme tune, shall we?
Facts, fucked up facts.
Fucked up facts!
You didn't tell me how much was in the room. Alright, Mike, here's some knowledge.
The ancient Greek philosopher Diogenes would masturbate in public.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's Athens, yeah?
He defended his action by saying, "If only it were as easy to banish hunger by rubbing my belly."
So he was sexually frustrated then?
Seems that way.
So I'm going to rub my cock and feed everyone my jizz. Was that what you were saying?
I think he's just saying, I'm really horny, but if I could take away hunger by rubbing my belly, that'd be great, instead of stand there and wank.
I can take away my horniness by rubbing my cock. Shame I can't take away my hunger from rubbing my belly.
Exactly. Classic Greek philosophy.
What a fucking awesome philosopher he was.
Yeah, I've never heard of him, admittedly.
Bit of a wanker.
Yeah.
That's English slang for masturbation if you're from any other country, because I know America doesn't have the same meaning of wanker as we have.
Oh, what does it mean over there?
I don't know, but it was on The Simpsons.
Mm.
Bart called someone a wanker, and everyone was like outraged. And it was like, wanker's got a completely different meaning in America, and it's not offensive based. Like, it's slightly offensive, but not. You got your cock in your hand offensive.
Couples that do unhealthy activities together, lounging, eating junk food and smoking, report feeling closer than those who choose to do healthier activities.
Of course, they're sat next to each other all day.
Nah, if you were like bike riding together, running together, you'd think they'd feel just as good, wouldn't you?
You're not talking, though, are you?
Suppose not.
It's basically saying people that chill together.
Yeah. People that chill together stay together.
So it's kind of fucking obvious,
In a way.
isn't it? Really.
Mm.
Yeah, that's it.
Ford uses a robotic bottom.
To test the seat.
Yeah, is able to sweat to simulate wear on car seats. It's called Robot.
Whose did they model it off? That's what I want to know. Can you get a job being an ass model?
Well, you'd either want it to be Jessica Alba or
Just grab a circa Dukes of Hazzard, you talking?
yeah.
It'll just be an average sized butt.
It which in America is going to be quite big. No offence.
Jennifer
Yeah.
Lopez.
Yeah, you do have an obesity problem.
You'd want Jennifer
But
Lopez.
it'll be a fat, sweaty butt.
Oh, it would have to be Oprah Winfrey.
It's Roseanne Barr, isn't it?
Oprah Winfrey
John Goodman.
when he was big.
Yeah.
It's not that big now. He's gone.
No, he's not,
slim,
isn't
he?
And Oprah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
The days of fat US comedians are gone.
Yeah.
Even Roseanne's lost weight.
A big John Candy butt.
Big John Candy butt. Yeah.
In 1943, 6-year-old Simeon Saxe-Coburg-Goethe,
Oh yeah.
He's a member of the British royal family, is he?
must be related, same name, became king of Bulgaria.
Interesting.
He went into exile at the age of 9 when the monarchy was abolished. In 2001, aged 64, he was elected Prime Minister of Bulgaria.
Well, playing the long game, eh?
Mm.
I knew I'd get back into power one day.
Playing the long game.
He sounded more like Churchill then, but
Just goes to show the elites always get in power in the end, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like Napoleon, isn't it?
Mm.
You know. We won't have a king, I'll be emperor instead. I won't be king, I'll be prime minister instead.
Apparently, ripping off a plaster really does hurt less than removing it slowly.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
Not through experience.
Yeah. In 1922, Sir Alfred Butt, so B-U-T-T,
did he start testing car seats?
Did he give his ass to science?
no, he gave his ass to politics and was elected MP for Tooting.
but for tooting?
Mayor of Tooting Butt.
Your fridge uses more power than most African families do.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Well, they got a fridge.
They normally don't have power.
I saw Top Gear when they went from looking for the source of the Nile. All those guys had electricity.
They all have fucking phones as well, like smartphones.
There's always a fridge, and someone's always got a Man United shirt on.
It says most African families.
Yeah.
The ones that are not living in the cities.
Yeah, alright.
But if they started using fridges and phones and recharging their cars and shit, fuck me, might have energy consumption.
But he hasn't built entire infrastructure for them to charge cars.
Well, you'd think they'd go more solar power in Africa, wouldn't you?
You'd think that. Well, if we just took enough solar powers in the Sahara and all chipped in a bit, we could fucking run the world, couldn't we?
It'd be in charge of the upkeep of the solar panels.
Everyone would chip in for it, depending on usage.
Would you like make little oases in the middle so they could sort them out, that kind of thing?
I guess you just have a team that went around and did shit. There's several teams.
That live in the middle of
The
Sahara desert.
Well, they'd have to.
Campuses
Yeah, you'd have to have bases up, wouldn't you? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, bases.
that are all well powered.
Fantastically powered. Hot as fuck, I'd imagine, though.
Nice swimming pool like yours.
Plenty of power for lots of air conditioning units.
Yeah.
Does the guy downstairs always move his furniture around on a Saturday night?
Must do.
It's like, it's Saturday night, let's move my fucking living room round.
Feng Shui, mate, it changes, doesn't it?
He's always drilling as well.
Yeah, one of the neighbours is drilling listening to hear a faint hum. That's not us.
I wonder if his name's Jeffrey.
We can't do nothing about that, I'm afraid.
Surname Dharma. Had any funny smells coming up through your floorboards?
A study.
No more than there is already in here.
A study of sexual libidos found women who slept for an hour extra were 14% more likely to want to have sex the next day.
Oh, I wish I'd have known that when I was married.
Left one lying all the time.
I'd have been given a sleeping pills in a milk.
Healthy.
Make sure you have a good sleep now, darling. Wake up in the morning nice and fresh.
Just put this rag over your mouth and nose, okay? Might smell a bit funny. I'm pretty sure that's date rape.
Not when you're married.
It's not, is it? But it's a form of it. Make sure you sleep well. Oh, he's going to knock you out. There we go.
I'm going to make sure you wake up horny.
No, she's still consenting, isn't it? It's not. You're just manipulating her horniness.
Manipulating consent is still consent.
No comment. Right, let's
I'm
go.
joking.
Bed bugs predate beds by at least 115 million years.
So are they just called bugs then?
I mean, we're talking the bed that we think of now as a bed.
Yeah.
But back in the day, a bed was like some straw or some hay or some bracken.
It was an outlet. I assume they fed off the blood of animals, didn't they? They must have done.
Yeah.
Humans went about.
Even humans are making...
Dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they went about, were we? Yeah, they must have fed off the blood of dinosaurs then.
About, no.
They should be called raptor bugs.
Quite possibly.
Goddamn raptor bugs.
Vampire bugs, I think.
The British hydrogen-filled airship R101.
The one that crashed.
It had a smoking room.
Does not surprise me. It did crash and burn quite horribly. Iron Maiden wrote like a 13-minute song about it. It's called something like Emperor of the Clouds. It's fucking fantastic. It's got a piano in it. I never thought I'd hear a piano in an Iron Maiden song. Empire of the Clouds. That's it, Empire of the Clouds. Fucking amazing song.
A recent study, and we'll finish on this one, about the aesthetic preferences of men and women with regards to the scrotum.
Right, so we're talking about the cock.
No, talking about the balls, the
All
ball
right.
bag, has found that it was barely possible to identify a beautiful scrotum. Barely possible. I want to see this beautiful scrotum now.
Basically, there's no such thing as a beautiful scrotum.
No, instead we must
Fantastic.
speak of the least ugly.
Yeah.
Oh man, so whatever anyone says, man, your balls are ugly.
Of course they are.
Well, on that bombshell, I've been Ben. Thanks for listening. Don't do the favourite. Don't join a cult.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening. Peace out, may the force be with you.
I've been Clair, keep an open mind, but not so open that it spills out your ears.
And I've been Pete. Everyone have a nice week. Take care.